Well, 'tis the season. No, I don't have my calendar wrong, and it's not to be jolly. I know it's not December, and no, I'm not talking about Christmas. 'Tis the season, apparently, for religious freedom laws. Now, that's been going on for a while in this country for a great number of reasons. Maybe since Religious Freedom Restoration Act was passed some time ago. Maybe it was last summer's law in the Supreme Court upholding same-sex marriage. But this time of year, spring going into summer, has been the time when states across the nation have thrashed out religious freedom bills. Last week in North Carolina, this week in Mississippi, governors signed into law bills that would protect private citizens' rights, as well as those of private religious organizations, to deny services to people whose lifestyle, life practice, and identity run afoul of those organizations or business providers. That's a nice way of saying that you can't get a birthday cake for a same-sex marriage, even if you want one in those places, under their new laws. At the same time, in Georgia, a similar law was turned back. Actually, the governor cited equally religious reasons, explaining that Jesus' ministry to outcasts and to those left unprotected under the norms of otherwise part of society, they needed to be respected too, and so he, as a Christian, could not sign such a law into practice. Now, who's right here? Are these laws that are either termed hate laws by some or religious freedom laws by others? Who's right? Are such laws shields to protect private citizens and private religious organizations' religious freedom? Or are they swords meant to be wielded against people who want same-sex marriage, or who are themselves gay, lesbian, or any way that runs afoul of some church or religious organization's definitions? Truthfully, I believe both are right. And the issue is not who is right, but how will each group look out not only for their own narrow self-interest, however important they may be, but also for the interests and the freedom of others. It does make a certain amount of sense. No one should be coerced into a relationship or any form of practice that violates their most deeply held views. But neither should anyone use their particular views to enforce them on others doing the exact same thing to them that they don't want done to themselves. So how do you find your way out of this in practical terms? I'm going to give one very concrete, clear suggestion. Whoever you think is right in this debate, the only way forward is when the advocates on either side will make sure that at least a portion of their energy and time is devoted not only to protecting the religious, spiritual, and commercial freedoms of those who share their conclusions about what the God in whom they believe wants of them, but also when they protect those freedoms that belong to others who don't agree with them. Imagine a world in which same-sex couples were willing to work towards some meaningful compromise with bakers who don't want to bake their cakes. Imagine those same bakers working toward a compromise in which the issue was not to simply proclaim their objection to that gay couple who want the cake, but to figure out something that respects both parties' integrity. That's the path to real religious freedom, or preserving any kind of freedom of expression in this country. To recognize that when you go out to fight for yours, a certain amount of attention has to be paid to fighting for the other person's as well. That's the way forward, so that maybe by this time next year, the conversation around these kinds of bills will be fundamentally different, and a greater number of people will be served by all of them, however they are written.